On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel initiated Operation Epic Fury. Within hours, nearly 900 precision strikes targeted locations across Iran. The barrage successfully hit the Islamic Republic's top leadership. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, along with the defense minister and several Revolutionary Guard commanders, were killed in the initial waves. To understand how the conflict reached this point of direct, overwhelming force, we have to look back to the 1980s. Following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran found itself isolated on the global stage, facing a brutal West-backed invasion by neighboring Iraq. During that 8-year war, Iranian leadership learned a hard lesson. Decimated by international sanctions and lacking a modern air force, they could not compete in a conventional head-to-head military conflict. Instead of trying to match its adversaries plane for plane, Tehran pivoted to asymmetric warfare. They decided to rely on unconventional tactics to project power and keep foreign armies at bay. To ensure the regime's survival, they built two distinct deterrents: an extensive network of regional militias and a highly advanced covert nuclear program. These systems were engineered to prevent a direct invasion. In 2026, they triggered exactly that. The first deterrent was the axis of resistance. Iran's Quds Force supplied weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and the Houthis in Yemen. This allowed Tehran to strike from multiple fronts, keeping retaliatory fighting outside Iranian borders. These proxy groups received deep tactical training, preparing for long-term campaigns explicitly focused on countering Israel. The second deterrent was a covert nuclear program, exposed in 2002. This satellite image shows an enrichment facility's heavily reinforced structures. By mastering the nuclear fuel cycle and burying centrifuges inside mountains, Iran reached the threshold of weapons capability, securing a permanent threat. Together, the proxies and the nuclear threshold acted as a dual shield. They signaled to Washington and Jerusalem that launching a direct attack on Iran would incur unacceptably high costs in regional chaos and nuclear fallout. The international community attempted to neutralize this dual shield for decades. In the early 2000s, an elaborate cyber weapon known as the Stuxnet worm was deployed to physically destroy Iranian centrifuges. Diplomatic efforts provided a temporary pause in 2015. Under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, Iran agreed to strict limits on uranium enrichment in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. That arrangement collapsed in 2018 when the United States withdrew from the agreement. The U.S. reinstated severe maximum pressure sanctions, effectively cutting Iran's oil exports in half and sending its economy into a severe crisis. Cut off from global markets, Tehran weaponized both of its pillars. After the U.S. assassinated Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani in 2020, Iran systematically abandoned the 2015 limits and rapidly accelerated its uranium enrichment. The dynamic broke completely following the October 7, 2023 attacks. As a broader conflict erupted, Israel shifted tactics and systematically dismantled the leadership and infrastructure of Iran's proxy network across Gaza and Lebanon. With the proxy shield heavily degraded, the shadow war finally surfaced. Throughout 2024, Iran and Israel bypassed the militias entirely and exchanged direct ballistic missile strikes. Stripped of its regional buffers, Tehran accelerated its second pillar to the absolute limit. By early 2025, they began storing highly enriched uranium in deep underground bunkers, closing the window for a negotiated settlement. In June 2025, after the IAEA reported Iran in noncompliance, the U.S. and Israel launched the 12-day war. They executed precision airstrikes specifically aimed at crippling those deep underground nuclear facilities. The damage was extensive, but it didn't end the conflict. In January 2026, the Iranian government violently suppressed massive internal protests. Citing the crackdown and the continued nuclear threat, the U.S. initiated a massive military buildup, culminating in Operation Epic Fury. Facing a total war, Iran activated its remaining asymmetric tools. They launched ballistic missiles at U.S. bases in Qatar and Bahrain, while coordinating with Houthi forces in Yemen to strike southern Israel. They also targeted the global economy. Iranian forces effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz, charging exorbitant tolls and attacking commercial tankers to choke off international oil supplies. The blockade caused an immediate global energy shock. Prices surged worldwide. forcing the International Energy Agency to release 400 million barrels from strategic reserves just to stabilize the market. For 40 years, the proxy network and the nuclear program were designed to act as an insurance policy for the Iranian state. But ultimately, the aggression required to maintain those two pillars eroded all diplomatic options. The shield itself became the target, leaving full-scale war as the only remaining outcome.